Hello, everyone. Thanks for listening to Wake Up, Look Up, a podcast where we connect events happening in real time to the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm Zach Wyrock. And in today's episode, we're asking the question, why don't we go out? This is based on an article I read, but also an experience I've been having about the decline in movie theaters. And I mean this in two ways. The first is that more and more movie theaters around the country are closing. In fact, now in the last year, 12% of movie screens are gone. So 12% of the total screens that we had in the United States dedicated to showing movies, boom, gone, never to be replaced. Movie theaters are sitting vacant. You can see that when you drive through a lot of communities. But also, I'm noticing more and more when I do go to the movie theater, there are less and less people there, which breaks my heart because I actually love going to movies. That's one of my favorite things to do. But the reason I'm talking about it here is not because I want you necessarily to go back to the movies. It's because there's something happening here that is really, really important. These vacant buildings that are being left behind are saying something about the way our culture is shifting. And what I mean by that is, first of all, they're pointing to the fact that increasingly we are staying home as a culture. Now you can get almost any movie you want at home across a variety of streaming services. And I know the arguments. The snacks are cheaper. The line to the bathroom is shorter. It's more comfortable. I get all that. We're becoming isolated and we have our reasons for doing it. But one of the most important reasons, and maybe the most telling reason, is that anyone can tell you who's been to a movie in the last year at a theater, our theater etiquette is atrocious. When you go to a movie now, people are talking during it, they're answering their phone during it, they're snoring during it, they're eating obnoxiously during it. Can you tell I'm frustrated by this? Listen, I don't think those are just declining social etiquettes. I think they're indicative of this. Because we spend more and more time on our own, we are less concerned about other people. It used to be that when you went to a movie, you actually were cognizant of the fact that it was a communal experience. You were sharing the space with other people. There, they had a right or a privilege to an enjoyable experience. And I was contributing to that. When we laughed together, we were together. But when we weren't supposed to be laughing, I'm quiet because I actually care about you. But the more isolated we get, the more people who do show up to the theater don't seem to care at all about your experience. I think this is a problem. And more than a movie problem or a cultural problem, it's a spiritual problem for a lot of reasons. First, the Bible makes clear we were made for connection, not isolation. We were made to be in company together. This is why, by the way, God said in Genesis 2, it's not good for man to be alone. God has given it to human beings to fill the earth, to have dominion, to create, to shape, and we do those things best in community. When we step out of community, when we live in isolation, we are always becoming less human, never more human. We're becoming something other than God intended us to be. It's not that there's anything wrong with watching a movie at home, but the more we do more things at home, the more we get comfortable with being less than God intended, and the more selfish we become. If everything really is about my comfort, about what's easiest for me, then when I do leave the house, I take that mindset with me. Of course, the gospel is the complete opposite of that. Philippians 2, Paul tells us to have this mind which also was in Jesus, to think of others as more important than ourselves. The whole essence of the gospel is that Jesus laid down his life for us and showed us that that's the way we ought to love our neighbors. When I talk through a movie, it's not just that I'm not used to being around people, it's that I'm telling you I don't care about you. And listen, movie theaters come and go, businesses come and go, culture changes, but if we don't care about each other, if we aren't concerned about other people's enjoyment of things, then we're degrading as a society. This is an opportunity, again, for the gospel to let Christians shine, because of all people, we should be willingly, strategically leaving our houses. And when we do, we should be asking ourselves, how can I increase the enjoyment and experience of those around me? Because I was made for them. This is the love that Jesus has called me to show. So go out of your house, and when you do, love people around you well. I hope I see you at the movies, but wherever you go, make sure you go with a neighbor love, neighbor-centered kind of way. Hey, thanks so much for watching this episode of Wake Up Lookup. While you're here, take a minute to like and subscribe. Really helps us get the word out. Don't hesitate to leave a review wherever you might find this podcast on an audio level and help spread the word. And hey, while you're here, check out all the other content we have at Christ Community Chapel on YouTube. Some of those videos are popping up on the screen now. Click on one.